Hey guys, how you doing today? Another beautiful day. Absolutely get outside if you can, right? Like if capitalism has given you even a minute, even like a 30-second break, go outside and just breathe the air, right? Hug that tree, high five a pigeon. Well, maybe not high five a pigeon, but you understand where I'm coming from. So today a Patreon sent me a whole bunch of links, right, to the old Wall Street bets GameStop story, which is of course ongoing, although there isn't really any like big spike up. I mean, the ultimate report would be if the stock goes to the moon, right? Like that's when I'll be reporting on that again. But that movement has not merged, but has shifted into general observations and general information about the market itself and the nature of the market and what it's doing. And there is a lot of indicators coming out to show that the market is going to collapse, as it does, right? Like, and the name of this video is going to be something like a completely predictable market crash or something like that, because it is predictable at this point that that's how capitalism operates, right? That you have what's called the boom bust cycle. And that's become like normalized in the nomenclature, right? To the point where even the people who are inside of the industry are calling it the cycle, right? They just call it the cycle. And the boom bust cycle is the fact that it's been normalized in the nomenclature is psychotic, right? Nobody's standing around talking about how do we stabilize the market, how do we make sure that the market doesn't constantly crash, because the impacts of a crashing market, right, are that we all lose our jobs, right? When the market crashes, it has profound effects on the society because people have to sell themselves to that market in order to get food and shelter. That's the idiotic arrangement that we've made in this society that I would like to see changed. But right now, you have to sell yourself into the market, right, to these rapacious sociopathic billionaires who every 8 to 10 years collapse the market because they don't give a shit about us, right? They care about money for themselves. That's what they care about. Flatline, period. And the market indicates their confidence, essentially. It's essentially a graph of rich people feelings. That's how it's been described, and that's what it is. It's just a series of feelings about how certain things are supposed to be priced generally, and they pretend as though there's like this scientific mathematical equation to it, when the reality is this is just how they feel about the market at the time. So, how is it going to collapse? Well, before I describe that, if you're one of these people who dump out of these videos around this time, please be sure to like, please be sure to share, please be sure to subscribe, send it around. Little pat on the back moment for myself, pat on the back moment, hit 500 subscribers. 500 subscribers. I'm the greatest person in the world. Yeah, let's go. Quick, let's rock it up to 1,000, right? That's the next thing, is 1,000. You could be the 1,000th subscriber. Subscribe now. Also worth pitching that I've got a live stream 6 to 9 every weekday. So come on down, say hello. Okay, so the market collapse, the obvious market collapse that is definitely happening. Well, I mean, big indicators of a market collapse is if the hedge funds themselves are showing that they think the market is going to collapse. And so all the information that I'm seeing, you've got Citadel, right, which is a big major hedge fund, which was completely embroiled in the GameStop scandal. They are shorting the entire market, right? So imagine you're a hedge fund. Your job is to invest into the economy in order to try and make money for yourself. Well, guess what? The only way that these hedge funds see that they're actually going to make money is if they actually short the market. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you can bet against stocks, right? So if they decline in value, you actually gain money, right? So Citadel has taken those kinds of bets against the entire market, right? So one of the largest players in the hedge fund game expects the market to collapse, or at the very least decline. But even more than those sorts of indicators, like, it's completely normal It's completely normal in a capitalist society for these sorts of collapses to occur. And it's especially true once you recognize that, like, these hedge fund guys and these economists are talking about the economy. They'll say there is a real economy, right? They'll say that, oh, well, we need to be worried about the real economy. Like, they'll have this big, long 2-hour conversation about the financial markets and the financial districts and all of this kind of stuff. And then somebody at some point will start saying, okay, but we need to be concerned about the real economy at some point, right? And then they'll all go, oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, well, moving on to the financial industry again, right? Because the real economy, and they never tell you this, but like the real economy is you and me, right? Is us actually making things and producing stuff and creating. Like, what I'm doing now, right, is part of the real economy because it's something that you and I are actually engaged in that creates something. But I'm not like creating food, right? I'm not creating like shelter. Those are things that are part of the real economy, certainly more so than even this. But certainly more so than anything that's happening in the financial sector, right? Because if you have a real economy, right, it implies the existence of a false economy or an illusionary economy or a fake economy, if you prefer, right? And what is that false economy? What is that fake economy? The entire financial district. The entire financial district that is now ballooned up to be about half the economy here in Canada. It's completely illusionary. It's completely fake. It's complete bullshit. It's just shuffling around of numbers and taking bets and speculating on what may or may not happen. It's a casino that doesn't produce anything, that doesn't make anything, doesn't design anything. Nobody takes what they do and consumes it. It's this incestuous game that feeds in on itself, where even the people who are playing it are seeing very clearly this can't sustain itself because there's nothing tangible or real coming out of it, right? And you have clear indicators and clear signs that there is a coming market collapse. So here's a great one that literally nobody talks about. Over the pandemic, there has been a transfer of wealth of about $4 trillion into the billionaire class, right? The billionaire class has made upwards of $4 trillion over this period of time, which is about the same amount that the lower classes have lost, right? That we all declared bankruptcy, we all went insolvent, we all lost a whole bunch of money. Why? Because there was a pandemic on and everybody got fired, right? And the government did this huge bailout for massive corporations and told us to slag off, right? That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what we saw. But here's the reality. So that $4 trillion got extracted out of the society, right? And put into the hands of these sociopathic billionaires who turned around and did they reinvest it? Absolutely not. Put it in offshore accounts the way that they always do. Or maybe they bought back their own stock or something worthless like that doesn't achieve anything other than raise their own portfolios, right? And so what happens is you end up in a society where you have all of this wealth that's pooled into the hands of these rapacious sociopaths, and in a society that's been so impoverished that they can't buy anything that these guys produce if they were producing anything in the first place. There's your collapsed economy. There's your collapsed market. Because investors will not invest because it always goes back to that seminal statement I make that completely collapses neoliberal economics to the ground, which is, why would anyone, if the point of investing is to make money, why would anyone invest if they already have all the money? Right? There's only a certain amount of money that can be in the economy. There's only a certain amount of money that can exist, right? If you already have all of it, you don't need to invest in getting more of it. You already have all of it. right? And the only types of things that you'll start to invest in if you're a billionaire is for methods to get money away from other billionaires, because they're the only people who have money. And so once this starts to manifest itself more seriously into the economic system, once people turn around and start to realize, oh, I can't actually get any consumers for anything that I'm investing in, so I'm not going to bother investing, poof, down goes the economy yet again, followed by what we should all expect to see at this point, given the rapacious sociopathic nature of the system that we live in, followed by massive bailouts of the people who caused the collapse in the first place. Because what's happening, right? What's happening? Because, and the wealthy people are aware of this. Like, I'm not telling anybody anything that is like, nothing I've said here is controversial. Bill Gates knows this, Warren Buffett knows this, right? Like, the hedge funds are aware of this. Everybody knows this is what's going to happen. And so what are they doing? Well, if you're Bill Gates, you're buying up land, right? You're becoming the world's largest farmer, right? Well-known agriculturalist, Bill Gates, right? You know, Bill Gates, who hangs out with Jeffrey Epstein, right, in this large-scale pedophile scene that existed amongst the billionaire class. You take your money and you dump it into Dogecoin or Bitcoin, right, which is just a play toy for billionaires so that they can trade slaves amongst one another without being tracked. You buy up infrastructure and you start to invest in things like the Canada Infrastructure Bank, which has specifically been erected to allow billionaires to buy our infrastructure, right? That's what it's for. It's this fascist arrangement that nobody talks about. I'm trying desperately to get the leftists to actually start talking about this Canada Infrastructure Bank, but we seem completely disinterested in actually taking a moment, figuring out that, oh, the Canada Infrastructure Bank exists to entrench the wealth of the capitalist class into our government and then extend and increase the wealth gap that exists in the society. Because if you have to pay capitalists interest in order to get infrastructure built, eventually they get more and more of the money and you get less and less of the money that's built into the system. And so it collapses, right? But the billionaires don't care. This is the big thing that I think everybody needs to understand. The billionaires don't care if this thing collapses, right? Sure, they might care in sort of a meta, like, well, isn't capitalism supposed to allow for investment and all this kind of stuff? But if you're a billionaire and you own mass swaths of land and you own all this kind of stuff and then the market collapses, what do you care, right? You're still a billionaire. You've still got all this land. Even if your currency becomes irrelevant, even if the $1 billion becomes completely meaningless, right? Hi, buddy. Got a dog here. Got a dog here. But even if all of that becomes moot, right? Even if all the currency just goes away and is invalid, you still have all the land, right? You still have all these buildings that you've bought. You still have all this stuff that you've bought, right? And so the market collapse that's coming this time is the market collapse that's essentially going to solidify who and who is not the feudal kings, right? That if you own like a whole bunch of land and you have a whole bunch of property and you have a whole bunch of buildings and you have a whole bunch of servants and all of this kind of stuff, well, congratulations, you're a prince, right? That's exactly the system that's being erected. That's the exact system that's coming down the pipe. The collapse is obvious. Hedge funds like Citadel are betting on the collapse occurring, so you sure as shooting can expect it to happen. Especially, like, if they're gonna bet against the market, they're gonna do everything they can to collapse that market. So even if it doesn't happen because of an oopsie-doo, right? It's gonna happen because it's structurally built into the system of capital. That's how it works. And the players are incentivized to ensure the collapse occurs. So get ready for it, guys. This is going to be the big one, and it's completely predictable. It's completely obvious. It's completely in our faces. And under these circumstances, guys, you're doing wonderfully. You truly are. You are a divine being standing on divine energy. We could use some of it right now. Good luck. We're going to need it.